Take it easy and solve the school lunch problem with SPAM. S-P-A-M.
こんにちは、タイガークローラジオ。You are listening now. Back J.
You are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Number 1 in vintage computer and video game entertainment. And now your host, Critical Failure.
What is going on, everybody? This is your host, Critical Failure. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Got some good chiptunes for you this week. And I've got some... this has never really been much of a news, like a gaming news type podcast. But I do have some good headlines for you coming up after the first track. Oh, boy. Okay. We're going to kick things off with Don't Run With Pixels. Playing Sorry for the Long Track Title, etc., etc., something about a potato. It's from Don't Run With Pixels. Head over to chipmusic.org, grab yourself a copy of the MP3. You guys are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Okay, not messing around this week. I've got one and only one Vancast for you. Let's go there now. Another fine day, late afternoon Vancast. It is 3:31. Oh yeah, that's the benefit of driving to work early, is you don't gotta hang around till 5. So nice. Got some good video game stuff to talk about. First and foremost, Twitch superstar Dr. Disrespect. One of my favorite people, the two-time blockbuster video game champion is making his return after his hiatus in early February. So we're looking at maybe, if all goes according to plan, 2.5 weeks or so till the good doctor's back in the office. That'll be good times. I like that guy. I think he's really funny. A big nod to an era, a very special era, to I think men of my age. You know, these late 80s where mullets were cool kind of thing. So hoping to see him back doing what he does in good health. And speaking of the return of shows that are enjoyed by many, here's one I didn't expect to see. James Rolfe made a video about the possibility of Monster Vision returning with good old Joe Bob Briggs, which I can't think of something more out of left field, because this is something I just kind of recently got into. I was watching these old Joe Bob Briggs introductions to movies on YouTube that people saved on tapes from I don't know how long he did it, but I know the YouTube clips range from the early 90s to the year 2000. Those have been really fun to watch. So if Monster Vision returns with Joe Bob Briggs in any kind of incarnation, because you know media has changed, so it won't be the same as before, I would watch that. I'd watch the heck out of that. I hope that's true. I hope something really happens based on that. But that, as they say, is the word on the street. What else we got? Another oddball is that Wisdom Tree is making a Kickstarter for a plug and play. Wisdom Tree being the company that made the old, if you're listening to this, you know who Wisdom Tree is. Super Noah's Ark 3D Bible Adventures for the NES. That's Wisdom Tree. All right, here's the deal. I'm a devout Christian. All right, that's just a fact of my life. But I think Wisdom Tree is dumb. I think what they're doing. I think it's they made some bad products. I think they I don't know. I've got no love for the old Wisdom Tree games. And the fact that they're making some sort of comeback on some weird level, I blame that on the lol so funny YouTube videos surrounding these games. Because I think I guess they have a Kickstarter, so they've got some sort of buffer against the risk. But what it would seem like if Kickstarter wasn't in the equation, we'd have a company that'd be like, hey, people are talking about old video games. We made old video games. Let's make it a plug and play. Gotta play the video games with the Wisdom Tree. And they put out this product, and they were like, oh, we were making jokes about it because we didn't like it. Sorry, guys. So I'm hoping that the Kickstarter is a flop because I don't want anybody to lose their hat. I don't want them to invest in making this plug-and-play machine that nobody's going to want. So, please, engineers of Wisdom Tree, I wish you all the best in your ministries and in your business ventures, but please don't make this device. Just don't do it. It's not a good idea. It's not going to be a good device. It's really not going to help you get your message out there. I'm sorry. It's just my opinion. Alright, hang on a second here. I know you can barely hear me. Just stick with me. I just wrote a couple things down when I was in the can that I wanted to go over. Finally, we got Sandom Todd. Sandom Todd, old school YouTuber, who I've watched some, but not much. He's one of those guys that's like, you click into his channel, and he's been around for 9 years, so you can see like a couple of videos, but I can tell that this dude has a really long, widespread history on the platform, and I've only but sampled a taste of his work. Well, he made a video a couple of months back that's been in my watch later list for a while. He spent about an hour playing Ikaruga. I think he did the Dreamcast. Was it it's getting fuzzy now what platform he played on. But I can tell you he took the time to turn his TV sideways, and he played it in Tate mode. So I'm still hammering away at this Raiden high score challenge, Raiden 4. As a matter of fact, I even reopened Raiden 3 just last night, and I gave Raiden 3 a go-round. And I did better at that game, so I think all the practice in Raiden 4 is like, not just getting better at Raiden 4, but I think I'm improving my overall shmup ability. I don't know. I like to think that anyway. Whether it's true or not, we'll see. But that's my next target, is to watch those videos, write down his scores, and take down Sandom Todd in a 1v1 battle that he has no idea is taking place in Ikaruga. I basically want to play Ikaruga and see if I can beat him and score. That's what I'm going to do. So, if any of you out there have got a copy of Ikaruga lying around, if any of you have it on Steam, might be a good time to just see if you still know where that disc is at, see if you can get it installed, because that might be coming in future weeks. Before I do that, I want to go back and rewatch his video and write down what his scores were, because Sandom Todd's going to be the benchmark. That's going to be the goal. Because clearly I can't beat Alex Swingle or Saga in a shmup. That just ain't happening. All right. Did we do the list? Gave some love to the good Dr. Disrespect. talked about the wisdom tree. I have H1Z1 written on my list. It's the note that I wrote was literally H1Z1. Oh yeah, but that was it. So I don't think there's any news about H1Z1. It's just, hey, I like this game. That's my news about H1Z1. But I mean, as always, taking care of business. There's a very limited amount of time to play video games, so I'm gonna do I'm gonna do what I can do, and we'll just have to kind of work from there. All right, guys. Let's do this. You guys have a one-way ticket back to the comfortable Panzer Studios, you lucky dogs, because I got a good solid 40 minutes with chores plus who knows how long, because I gotta make a couple stops. I got quite a while. So, in good health, I'll see you there.
All right, back again at the comfortable Panzer Studios. Nowhere I'd rather be. Just a quick reminder, this is a Patreon-sponsored podcast. And I wish I could give these guys more than I do, but what I can offer them, and what I can offer you too if you wish, is early access to the podcast. As soon as I get it done, it goes up and these guys can get it. Everybody else, Monday morning is release day. In addition to that, I like to list them out as sort of an honored hall of supporters, and they are Hemrock, James, Sendu, Tecmo Balls, Darabka, Six Health of Fury, and the Cartridge Brothers. Thank you guys so much for making it so I can do this every week, and also making it so I don't have to try and wrestle with AdSense, and nobody has to ever watch an ad on my videos on YouTube. So many thanks to you guys. You're making a huge difference with me and my life, and for my family. Just that little bit, every month makes a big difference. It really does. So wanted to say thanks. Also, Patreon removed their tax on I always forget the term to use here, but the people who do the supporting no longer get taxed. Only the collectors, not the donators. So props to Patreon for that. All right, enough of that nonsense. Let's move right along. Got a little bit about Street Fighter V. I seem to remember it being a little rambly, but hey, there were some more updates on Street Fighter V, so I'm going to go over them real quick. Also, I figured out how to capture footage, finally, so I can do some competitive matches, and we can look at them together on my YouTube channel. They don't look great, but I can get the footage, I can talk over them, and I'm looking forward to doing that. All right, let's go to the segment. I don't know. I've been going over this in my head a couple of times, and I don't know how else to say it. The Street Fighter V release just feels weak to me. It feels very weak. I'm glad that they let us have Sakura for free for a few days, because I played with her, and there's no magic there. I don't know what the deal is. A friend of mine said that she was a fan service character to begin with back in the Alpha 3 days, and in those days, I didn't know what that meant, but now it's really starting to show. Like a character that does not have anything unique to bring to the table at all. Except my speed and, whatever. Like, we've got Ken already. So now I think more than ever, I don't see the point. I think she's made it completely obsolete by the presence of Ken and Ryu, as well as I think Ibuki fills her role. So now I think at least it's not another weird bizarre character like Abigail. I don't know. I take a look at Season 3 characters in Street Fighter V, and it's now more than ever, the ridiculousness of their business model is showing through. As far as the single-player stuff they added, the arcade mode is bizarre. It's bizarre, okay? You've got 5 different games to choose from in the arcade mode, and each one is a tree of opponents modeled after earlier, better games in the franchise. So there's a Street Fighter arcade mode with only characters from the original Street Fighter, and then you move to Street Fighter 2, and it's got only characters left over from number 2. Very weird choice, especially considering there's a Street Fighter Alpha version, and we don't have Street Fighter Alpha yet. The whole thing was just incredibly contrived, and it's I don't know. I'm supremely disappointed. in the new Street Fighter release. I'm still playing the game. I'm still enjoying it, but I don't know, man. Up until this point, Street Fighter V for me has been the go-to game that made my computer a party machine to take on the road. I bought more stuff for Street Fighter V than I needed so that I could take it to my friend's house, and then my build of the game had all the stuff, right? And we could gather around and we could play on my PC. I like doing it that way, but now with this new season, I don't know. I'm finally starting to see the error of my ways. I'm looking around now. I was hoping to do kind of like an Ask the Internet sort of routine, reading some of the other opinions on the new stuff, but I'm not finding anything. I'm not finding any opinions at all. Not in not in the straight Steam forums. Here's one. Sakura Battle Outfit. What is up with her eyes? First response. She bought Street Fighter V at launch for full price. And there you go. Yeah, the lack of true opinions, I think, just shows how bland and generic. Why do people feel entitled to get extra free... Hold on. Why do people feel entitled to get extra free content for a game purchased 2 years ago? Because Capcom said we'd get it. That's why. Because this game, if you continued to buy the content they were putting out for it, the hardcore fans of this game have spent tons and tons of money. I spent a lot of money on this game, and I've spent much less than a lot of people. Let's read what else this genius has to say. Street Fighter V was released 2 years ago, and people complained that it was too multiplayer focused without enough single player content. That got fixed, AE, although I don't like the arcade mode in Street Fighter... Oh, excuse me, I read that wrong. Although I like the arcade mode in Street Fighter 4 more, everybody has got arcade mode, extra battles, team battles as a free update. The Season 3 Character Pass is new content. The price of S-Passes 1 and 2 got reduced, and they were on sale several times before. If you actually played the game in the past 2 years, you could earn fight money to purchase some of that content and other stages and costumes for free. Here's the bottom line. It's your fault if you... Hang on. It's your fault if you didn't play the game in the last 2 years, and now you don't have fight money. Not Capcom's. It's your fault for not paying attention to the planned changes in the fight money system, which had been announced months before AE dropped. Other fighting games that some of you praise to no ends don't even give you the option to earn DLC for free, as their season passes are more expensive or less content than the Street Fighter V passes. Yeah, free stuff is nice if given, but nobody is entitled to free stuff. Grow up, get a job, shut up and play the game. Oh my gosh, somebody's triggered hard. First, let's talk about the games. He's saying other games DLC costs more and you get less. You're talking about Dead or Alive 5. Okay, just if you're gonna talk about one game, don't say other games like it's all other games. For one thing, and you're right. The Dead or Alive DLC model is terrible. It's worse even than Street Fighter V. Man, the triggering. So is this somebody who supports the crazy DLC model that Capcom is dealing with? I don't know. The whole thing just seems really hokey to me. Capcom at its finest. Its very finest. But nowhere in here. I mean, that's the closest I can come to like a real opinion. Let's see. Pay to win? Consider to buy it, but read it's pay to win. True? There you go. That's a good comment for you. Let's see. I'm going to check one more page. Steam Cloud support. Here we go. What does Capcom have against E-Honda? Edmund Honda. Completely left out of every incarnation of Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter EX, and every Street Fighter Vs. game that I can remember. Since the original Street Fighter series, he has only been in Street Fighter Alpha 3, Gem Fighter, SF4, and SF the movie. Does Capcom really hate Edmund? He's one of the original 8 Street Fighter 2 characters, and he gets treated like a nobody. I'd rather see him than Dalsim in every single Street Fighter game that is released. Alright, well, first of all, Dalsum doesn't get in every single Street Fighter game that's released. He's in Street Fighter 5, yes, but was he in 4? I don't know. I don't know the 4 franchise very well. I played that for like a couple of hours total. But both of those guys, these are peripheral characters. Nobody ever bought a Street Fighter game so that they could play as E Honda. Come on now. Let's get a sumo wrestler in Street Fighter. That's E Honda. Do you know how I know? Because they could never make a second character with the same archetype. They could never put another muscular sumo wrestler in Street Fighter. Otherwise, it would be, this is another E Honda. This is F Honda. Freddy Honda. At least this is a real opinion. I can tell somebody likes E Honda and would like to see him make a return. I'll agree with you on that point. It would be nice to see, just because he was one of the original 8 from Street Fighter 2. But I disagree that he's somehow missed. I disagree that he's missed. But it would be nice to see him, I guess. Okay, let's go to an old standby here on Tiger Claw Radio. This is an album from Animal Styles. Singular, Animal Style. You can pick it up at 8-Bit People's for free, and the album is called Trench Vent. We're going to play Slash Back, which I don't think I've ever played on TCR. But I think it's worth noting that this is a very short album. It only has 5 tracks on it. And I've gone back to this album many times for something to play. It's good stuff. They do a Sega Genesis chip with a little additional keyboard sound, and I think it's top notch. All right, you guys are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. It stops pretty suddenly. It kind of comes to a grinding halt. But it's a good track, it really is. It's time for Ask the Internet, where I reach out to the internet and read stuff and respond to it, because why not? Lots of interesting opinions are out there. I might as well read them as if I'm some sort of authority. Let's take a look, shall we? Anon writes, what's the possibility that a new CRT TV could be produced, given that old CRTs are slowly and surely ceasing to exist? I feel like there's a big enough niche market for a manufacturer to produce modern CRT TVs. It would use tech that makes a CRT what it is, while adding any applicable modern technology. The price would surely come at a premium, but the image would be objectively the best option for retro technology. It may even be able to lose some weight and size with today's techniques. A couple of problems with it I can see right off the bat. One of the reasons we use TVs the way they are now is because they're cheaper to produce, right? In the olden days, we used to have television repairman. That was a profession that you could get into. They're all gone now, because if something happens to your TV, you just buy a new one. CRTVs are from that last era. So I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but in order to produce a CRTV, it must be like 10 times the cost of producing a flat screen TV. So that being a hypothetical statistic that I made up, let's say that were true. Let's say a CRTV were 10 times as much to produce. Then you would have to have multiple times of that worth of revenue to buy one, right? Because if something costs, you're going to need to pull in at least something like 10 times the revenue in order to cut a profit on the unit, right? Here, let me put it to you like this. The price for a CRT manufactured today would be out of this world, for one thing. For another, I don't think our little niche hobby of not just of video games, but of retro video games, and not just of retro video games, but OG hardware retro video games, and not just OG hardware video games, but OG television OG hardware retro video games. That is, I can't think of a smaller niche market, unless you're like a Tiger electronics enthusiast. I don't really think there's enough to warrant creating a CRT TV. Also because there's no real benefit to watching a movie on an old CRT, right? It's just a video games thing. So no, I don't think there's enough function. Maybe that's just me. That's just the impression that I get when I read this question. But there's enough abandoned CRTs out there that when your TV goes bad, you should be able to get another one. Take $20 down to the thrift store every week. You'll find one soon enough. Okay, here's another good one. Give me a second here. You are now the lead designer of Elder Scrolls 6. How do you fix the series? Alright, this is one of those things about I don't think you quite understand what ruins these kinds of games. Because here's what happened. I would come up with a good design. I would go over it with some programmers to see how feasible some of the technical aspects are. I'd come up with a solid design using several revisions and taking in input from people who know what they're talking about, right? Let's just say we're starting with a design that would work. Then investors would come in and they'd need to make changes. And then we'd need to accommodate the Creators Club. And then certain things would have to be withheld from the game in order to be sold as DLC. And don't tell me it doesn't happen, because you know it does. That's why, and that's another thing, speaking about the Creators Club, I think as long as the Creators Club is thriving, we're not going to see an Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think, I think once that dies down and people stop paying for mods, which boggles the mind why that got any support. But, yeah, I think the next great Elder Scrolls game is going to come not from an indie studio, but from another competing studio trying to recapture the same magic they used to have. That's where the next great Elder Scrolls game is going to come from. It's not going to be from Bethesda, and it's not going to be called Elder Scrolls game. It's going to be some other fantasy game that's a quote-unquote spiritual successor. That's where we're gonna really recapture the magic. I'm not saying we're not going to see Elder Scrolls 6. We might see it, but whatever we do see is going to be some sort of monster that's planned from day one to be a Creators Club sort of thing. and it's going to be terrible. It really will. I'm sorry. Can we get one that's even a little bit positive? Let's see here. Games you used to think were good. Games we all tried convincing ourselves were better than they really were. I'll start. Remember the buzz around this game, Resident Evil 5, when it was first released? You know, I played all the way through Resident Evil 5, and I enjoyed it. I never thought it was worth going back to play through a second time, but I played through it with a friend, and playing through a game with the right friend will make a terrible game a lot of fun. Such is the case for Resident Evil 5 for me. Not a great game, but I really enjoyed it because I just played through it with the right people. A good example of a game I used to think was good is Stunt Race FX for the Super Nintendo. It's a go-to answer for this kind of question. I remember playing it multiplayer with my brothers as a kid, and I remember having a great time with it. I got a hold of the cartridge as a young adult. I think I was probably 18 at the time. And I realized what the frame rate actually was, and I could never play it again. Don't know why I thought it was so good as a kid, because it is not. Here we go. Why do open world exploration focused games feel the need to scream, "Fast, go to the next objective," in your ear through the whole game? You know, I think this is another symptom of the Elder Scrolls series. I can't think of another game that does this apart from Elder Scrolls. But, on the other hand, they've done it forever. I gave Daggerfall a serious try over the last couple months, and I saw this in Daggerfall as well. I don't know. Maybe it's to remind you that, hey, there is a real mission out there, and hey, if you decide to go back to the main mission after doing side quests for like 20 hours, you're going to need to know where to pick up the trail. So, I don't know, man. Don't let the game tell you what you want. Excuse me. Don't let the game tell you what you want to do. Think of it for yourself. That's the whole point, right? If they tell you to go do the mission, you stomp your foot and say, "No, I'm going to go collect flowers so that I can make potions." Here's a question that gets asked all the time that I don't think anyone's going to like my reply to. Do you think old video games were better than nowadays games? I don't really think that's the case. I don't think it's the case. I think there's a couple of things at play here. Number one, no one likes DLC, and that didn't used to be a thing. So maybe there's that. Number two, I'm older now, so I'm never going to quite experience the magic of games when I'm younger. I'm not saying games aren't good. I'm just saying that it's difficult to be objective about this sort of thing. It's one of the reasons I like hearing what my son thinks of video games, because he goes into this sort of thing and experiences them all at the same time, and for the first time as well. We'll play a very old game that he'll really dig, like the Mario Kart games, the older ones in the series, and then we'll play a newer game, like a Mario Kart clone, and he'll play those two for the first time within the same year, and be able to give me an accurate description of what he likes better in each and why. And given that, I don't see him drifting towards a certain era of video game. I don't. So I don't necessarily think older games are better or newer games are better. I think in both cases, we've got a bunch of crap that we shouldn't focus on. If you're going to play old games, you should focus on the old games that are worth your time. If you're going to play new games, you should focus on the new games that are worth your time. Because when we think about older games, there was a lot of terrible games that we just don't think about, because why would you bother thinking about, Sushi Go Round for the Wii? Why would you bother? Why would you bother thinking about Bible Adventures for the NES? Unless you were doing some sort of weird collection venture, then maybe. But objectively sitting down to play a game and have fun, there's no reason to play Bible Adventures anymore. There wasn't back in the day. It was just a game that was in the mix. So, I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Alright, guys and gals, it's time for the fail bag. This is... Hang on. Oh, yeah. Cranberry and lime seltzer water. Let's start the fail bag off with an email that I failed to read from about a month ago. This is from Hemrock. He writes, "Hey, CF. I'm interested to hear how your Daggerfall gameplay is going. I stumbled across this incredibly informative YouTube video about Daggerfall and a bunch of tips and tricks. Watching it makes me want to try the game out. The guy has an in-depth character customization guide. Pretty neat. You can see the vid here." And he posts a link. What is your favorite console RPG? What is your favorite PC RPG? Any updates on the Monster Cast? Happy New Year. Keep rolling retro, Hemrock. Alright, so just to preface this, Hemrock has been, through the years, he's been this guy who, when he points, whenever there's a big rush or a big phenomena, the first time I hear about it is when Hemrock tells me about it. A few examples. The first time I ever saw Minecraft was a video from Hemrock that he showed me, and that huge cultural phenomena. Same thing with DayZ. The first time I ever saw or heard of DayZ was from Hemrock. First time I ever heard of chiptunes or saw a chiptune website was Hemrock showing me where to get an Anime Gucci album. I don't think I just think it happens. So over the years, I've grown accustomed to, when I can, when he points something out, I like to check it out. So we've got this vid about Daggerfall, which might be just what the doctor ordered. So Daggerfall, to me, it's a cool game. It is a little slow moving. I like the great big world, but I wish there was more of an incentive to just travel the world. I did a couple of like the random dungeons, and I got lost pretty quickly. It's a cool game. I enjoy it. I haven't quite got hooked. But it's cool. I think Morrowind is really where the magic starts for me. But Daggerfall is certainly cool. And I'm not saying that there's not enough there to get me hooked. I got about 5 hours on my GOG Galaxy listing for it. But then I've also probably got 2 or 3 hours on top of that where I've played it offline, where I wasn't storing the hours. I would definitely say try it. It's impossible for me to say if you get hooked or not, but I would definitely say try it. It's one of those experiences where it's like, this is one of the games that that I'm glad I played. You know, top 100 games to play before you die, that would be on that list. So let's talk. So the idea that you have a guide on how to get some traction in the game might be just what the doctor ordered. So let's see some of the other questions. He writes, what's your favorite console RPG? I think the most classic is Chrono Trigger, and my personal favorite JRPG would be Final Fantasy IX. But top 2 favorite video games of all time are River City Ransom and Wizardry 5 for the Super Nintendo. That's an RPG, so favorite console RPG I guess would be Wizardry 5. Favorite PC RPG? I'd have to dig a bit. I want to say Morrowind. Would be my favorite PC RPG, but I'd have to dig through my games and see if there was anything that beat it. Because I put about 70 hours into Morrowind, and as all-time favorite games of any given genre go, that's not really a lot. I mean, it's a lot for me and the way I play games now, but 70 hours, lifetime, not that much. Updates on the Monster Cast. I got about 3 hours for the Monster Cast. I was just going over the footage that I have stored up for that like 2 days ago. I want to get like 2 more interviews, 2 more good spots down, and then I can ship it out for you guys. So yeah, been kind of slacking on that. What are you gonna do? Anyway, Hemrock, my man, always good to hear from you. Hope your life is good. Let's head over to the YouTube channel, where every Monday, let's see, here we go, Tiger Claw Radio 218, be safe and Godspeed. We're going to see if there's any comments on that. This is the best way to leave a comment. Okay, starting at the bottom, Retro Kaiser writes, that Street Fighter 30th collection is not a rumor or innuendo, it's official. It's coming out this year and it includes Steam. Some of the games in that collection will include online. I don't know about cross-play or cross-dress play, though. I'm looking forward to it. That's awesome, Kaiser. I want to get that as well. I haven't been bothered to do a Google search to figure out when it's going to come out or any of that stuff. But I think that would be cool. I was thinking about this the other day, and like I can't help but think. I think of like Sakura in that game, and I think of like Armika in that game in Street Fighter Alpha 3, and I'm like, if that game comes out now, there's no way it's not going to be censored. somehow made less lewd than it was. But whatever they come up with, whatever they decide to release, I'm going to get it. Because we've got the dream release of King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match. The dream release of that game. The PC release of King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited Match is beyond... I mean, that's like... It's like right there with the Xbox 360 and all that stuff. We didn't get slighted at all in the classic King of Fighters releases on Steam. So I've some faith, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see. All right, Saga writes in, good luck and stay safe out on the roads. I don't think the rumored SF30th collection will have crossplay. It's also on Switch/X1, and Sony is extremely anal about crossplay with other consoles. Speaking of it, I need to be practicing my V-ism Karen for some Street Fighter Alpha 3 fun times. Hope the port quality is good, and the online doesn't suck. Raiden 3 is fun. Can't say I enjoyed it as much as I have 4, though. I ended up with 45... Let me get a good look at this number. 4,522,520. Almost killed Stage 3 boss. No idea where that puts me in line with everyone else. But that's what I got. As far as Raiden 3, that means you beat me, but you did not beat Dumaze or Swingle. Dumaze ended up with 5. Like 503. I can't remember what Swingle got, but Swingle made it to the 4th level, so his points were up in the 6+ million, something like that. I'll have to go back and collect some scores. I've asked a couple of times to see if I can get some of the scores resubmitted, just so that I could get a text file out and type in the proper scores, but I don't know. Didn't get any response, so it is what it is. Dumaze writes, I'm joining the Raiden 4 score competition for sure. It's just that Nier Automata on my PS4 Pro has taken over my life at the moment, but I'll get to it. You know what, Dumaze? That's awesome. You found a game that you're digging. I like that excuse. There's just a game that has been taking my time that I've been enjoying, rather than, oh, life is terrible, I don't have time to do things. So props to you for playing Nier. He also writes, and dudes, the best place to be is here, and the best time to be is now. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Couldn't agree more. And you know, it's funny you said that, because my boss in real life oftentimes quotes Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when he cites his personal moral code. Just be excellent to each other. And let's see, Dumaze continues. He writes, I'm a master of the modding Wii. If you need help doing it, we can Skype it up when the time comes. I've done 6 or 7 modded Wiis. Me and my 2 nephews have been playing Secret of Mana on a modded Wii Virtual Console. Great, because the SNES does not have a multi-tap. But on Wii, no issues. 3 classic controllers. Real fun. It's awesome, Dumaze. I would love to have a modded Wii. This past week, I had a big rush to buy more vinyl records over the last couple days. I got the Off records, which you'll see in my YouTube channel pretty soon. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with my cash at this point. Whether it be get another Wii so I can mod it, or pursue more vinyl record stuff. I think it would be cool to get a third record player so I can have one in my office. Then I could really do some cool stuff, because I could take that record player and plug it into my audio mixer, and then I could get on Twitch and I could play vinyl records and do some records and games. I think that'd be cool. Have the webcam, instead of pointed at me doing FaceTime, I would have it pointed at the at the record player, and then you'd see the screen would be split down the middle. So it'd be half record player and then half, like, I don't know, some game, just so there'd be something to watch, like maybe Daggerfall or something like that. I think that would be a fun idea. I took the time to revive my Twitch account and go check it out and see if I could get it working. But I really don't know how to use Twitch, so it's still kind of a great big nothing on that front. But I do have interest in doing some really basic live streaming. I would look at my hopes for Twitch is exactly what I get from YouTube. There's no popularity involved. I know I'm not going to quote unquote increase my viewer base, but what it did do for me was I met a lot of really cool friends, and it became an awesome way to socialize. That I would like to see happen on Twitch as well. But if not, whatever. That is the extent of the comments on the YouTube posting of Tiger Claw Radio 218. I'm going to take a quick check of the blogs. Alright, so there's no comments on any of the blogs, thenextround.net or tigerclawtv.com, or even Mondo Coolcast. But I do have a text reply on... Okay, I guess that's not much. Alex Swingle writes on the Hungarian Famicom bootleg multicart, that is one epic thumbnail. Where I'm all cross-eyed with my mouth hanging open looking at the Famicom bootleg cart. And that's, you know what? I think that's all I got. So listen, whatever brought you here, 47 minutes in to Tiger Claw Radio, I hope things are going well for you. I really do. It's been quite a busy time here in TCR land, and it's been awesome to have the show up and running at full force for a couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do now, as I say my goodbyes, I'm going to head back over to chipmusic.org and just spend the rest of the evening jamming out to some chip tunes and playing some games. That way I can have some awesome stuff to play for you next week. Guys, if you're driving to work, if you're going to school, keep going and put in your full day. Don't give up. Keep getting up in the morning and doing what you do, because I am rooting for you. I really am. See you next Monday.